Let me ask you something. Have you noticed your hair getting thinner, weaker, more hair in the shower drain, more scalp showing than it used to? And you start thinking, is this just aging? Is hair loss inevitable? Listen carefully. Hair loss is not just about age. It's about nutrition, circulation, inflammation, and deficiency. And today, I want to talk about one simple nut that most people completely overlook. Yet it directly feeds your hair follicles, strengthens the root, can help shut down hair loss at the source. Most people believe that hair loss begins on the scalp. They think it's caused by the weather, the water, genetics, or the shampoo they're using, so they scrub harder, buy stronger products, apply oils, serums, and treatments, hoping something on the outside will fix the problem. But that's not how the body works. Hair does not die from the outside in. Hair weakens and thins from the inside out. Your hair follicle is a living structure. It is not dead tissue. It requires oxygen, blood flow, minerals, amino acids, and healthy fats to stay active. When the body is nourished properly, the follicle stays strong and productive. When the body is deprived, the follicle slowly shrinks. This process is called follicle miniaturization, and it is one of the main reasons hair becomes thinner over time before it ever falls out. One of the biggest internal causes of hair thinning is poor circulation. Blood carries oxygen and nutrients to every cell in your body, including the scalp. If circulation is weak, the scalp becomes undernourished. The follicle does not receive what it needs to grow thick, healthy hair. Instead, hair becomes finer, grows more slowly, and eventually stops growing altogether. This is why improving blood flow is so critical for hair health, and no topical product can replace that internal process. Another major factor is inflammation. Chronic, low-grade inflammation silently damages the body over time. It affects the joints, the gut, the heart, and yes, the hair follicles. Inflammation tightens the scalp, disrupts blood flow, and interferes with nutrient delivery. When inflammation is present, the body shifts into a protective mode and hair growth becomes a low priority. The follicle enters a resting phase more often, leading to increased shedding and reduced regrowth. Nutrient deficiencies also play a powerful role. Hair is made primarily of keratin, a protein that depends on vitamins and minerals to be produced properly. When the body lacks key nutrients like biotin, zinc, iron, copper, or essential fatty acids, hair growth suffers. The body always prioritizes survival over appearance, so when nutrients are limited, they are directed to vital organs first, not hair. The result is thinning, brittle hair that breaks easily and grows slowly. Stress is another internal trigger that people underestimate. Chronic stress increases cortisol levels in the body. Elevated cortisol disrupts hormone balance, reduces circulation, and increases inflammation over time. Stress pushes more hair follicles into the shedding phase. This is why many people experience sudden hair loss after emotional trauma, illness, or prolonged anxiety. Again, this process begins internally, not on the scalp. Hormonal changes also influence hair health. As we age, hormone levels shift. In men and women, imbalances can affect how hair follicles respond to certain hormones. This does not mean hair loss is unavoidable. It means the internal environment of the body needs support. When inflammation is lowered, circulation is improved, and nutrients are replenished, follicles often regain strength and function. The gut plays a role as well. If digestion is weak or the gut lining is inflamed, nutrient absorption suffers. You can eat the best foods in the world, but if your body cannot absorb those nutrients, the hair follicle will still be deprived. Gut health and hair health are closely connected, even though most people never make that connection. Sleep is another overlooked factor. During deep sleep, the body repairs tissue, balances hormones, and regenerates cells. Poor sleep disrupts this repair cycle. Over time, this slows hair growth and accelerates hair thinning. Again, no external product can compensate for a body that is not recovering properly. When people focus only on external solutions, they miss the root cause. Shampoos can clean the scalp, oils can moisturize the skin, but they cannot deliver minerals to the follicle, reduce systemic inflammation, improve circulation, or correct deficiencies. Hair growth is a reflection of the body's internal state. When the internal environment improves, hair follows. This is why people who make simple internal changes often notice improvements not only in their hair, but also in their skin, energy, and overall health. The body is interconnected. When you support it properly, multiple systems improve at the same time. Hair loss is not a punishment of aging. It is a signal. It is the body's way of telling you that something internally needs attention. When you listen to that signal and address the cause, the body has an incredible ability to recover. The key is understanding this truth. Healthy hair is not created by what you put on your head, but by how well you nourish your body. When you restore circulation, calm inflammation, reduce stress, improve digestion, and supply the right nutrients, you give your hair follicles the environment they need to thrive. And when the environment changes, the outcome changes too. When it comes to hair growth, the follicle needs very specific nutrients to function properly. Hair is one of the fastest growing tissues in the body, which means it has high nutritional demands. If those demands are not met consistently, the follicle weakens. Over time, hair becomes thin, fragile, and slow to grow. This is where walnuts become so important because they deliver a unique combination of nutrients that directly support the hair follicle at its root. Walnuts are one of the richest natural sources of biotin found in whole foods. Biotin is essential for the production of keratin, the structural protein that makes up hair. Without adequate biotin, hair strands lose strength, elasticity, and thickness. They break more easily and appear dull and lifeless. When biotin intake is sufficient, keratin production improves, allowing hair to grow stronger and more resilient from the follicle outward. Zinc is another critical mineral found in walnuts. Zinc plays a major role in cell repair and tissue growth. Hair follicles are constantly cycling through growth, rest, and shedding phases. Zinc helps regulate this cycle and supports the repair of damaged follicles. When zinc levels are low, the follicle struggles to regenerate properly, leading to increased shedding and slower regrowth. By providing zinc naturally, walnuts help maintain a healthy follicle growth cycle. Copper is often overlooked, yet it is vital for hair thickness and pigmentation. Copper supports the formation of melanin, the pigment responsible for hair color. Low copper levels can contribute to premature thinning and loss of vibrancy. Copper also helps strengthen connective tissue and supports blood vessel health, which improves nutrient delivery to the scalp. Walnuts supply copper in a balanced form that the body can easily use. One of the most powerful components of walnuts is their omega-3 fatty acid content. Omega-3 SADs are essential fats that reduce inflammation throughout the body. Inflammation around the hair follicle restricts blood flow and interferes with nutrient delivery. When inflammation is reduced, the follicle becomes more receptive to growth signals. Omega-3 SADs also help maintain healthy cell membranes, allowing nutrients to enter the follicle efficiently. This creates an environment where hair can grow thicker and stronger. Vitamin E is another key nutrient in walnuts that supports hair health. Vitamin E is a potent antioxidant that protects cells from oxidative stress. Oxidative damage weakens follicles over time and accelerates hair thinning. Vitamin E also improves circulation by supporting healthy blood vessels. Better circulation means more oxygen and nutrients reach the scalp, directly feeding the follicle and promoting growth. Walnuts also provide amino acids, the building blocks of protein. Hair is protein-based tissue, and without sufficient amino acids, hair growth cannot be sustained. These amino acids support the structure of the hair shaft and contribute to overall strength and density. Unlike isolated supplements, walnuts provide these nutrients in a natural, balanced form that works synergistically within the body. Another important benefit of walnuts is their effect on hormonal balance. While walnuts do not block hormones, they help support a healthier internal environment by reducing inflammation and oxidative stress. This can help moderate the impact of hormones that contribute to follicle weakening. When the internal environment improves, follicles are less likely to shrink and more likely to remain active. The healthy fats in walnuts also support scalp hydration from the inside. A dry, tight scalp limits follicle function. When the scalp is well nourished and hydrated, hair grows more smoothly and with less breakage. Internal hydration through healthy fats is far more effective than applying oils externally. What makes walnuts especially powerful is consistency. Hair growth is not an overnight process. The follicle responds slowly to improved nutrition. When walnuts are consumed regularly, the body gradually replenishes nutrient stores, reduces inflammation, and improves circulation. Over time, this creates visible changes in hair thickness, texture, and strength. It's also important to understand that walnuts work best as part of a supportive lifestyle. Adequate hydration, proper sleep, stress reduction, and overall nutrition enhance their effects. Walnuts do not force hair to grow. They remove the obstacles that prevent hair from growing. Many people notice that when they begin consuming walnuts consistently, they also experience improvements in skin quality, nail strength, and mental clarity. This is because the nutrients that feed the hair follicle also support the nervous system and connective tissue. The body responds as a whole. The simplicity of walnuts is what makes them so effective. There is no complex routine, no harsh chemicals, and no dependency. Just a small amount each day provides the follicle with what it needs to function as it was designed to do. Hair follicles are resilient. When they are nourished properly, they respond. Walnuts supply the essential nutrients that strengthen the root, protect the follicle, and support long-term growth. When the follicle is supported from the inside, hair has the opportunity to grow thicker, stronger, and healthier over time. One of the most overlooked causes of hair loss is inflammation combined with poor circulation. These two problems almost always go hand in hand. When inflammation is present in the body, blood vessels become less flexible, blood flow is reduced, and tissues receive less oxygen and fewer nutrients. The scalp is especially vulnerable to this process because it depends on a rich blood supply to keep hair follicles active and productive. Inflammation does not always cause pain. In fact, most inflammation related to hair loss is silent. It builds slowly over time due to stress, poor diet, lack of sleep, dehydration, and exposure to toxins. When inflammation reaches the scalp, it tightens the tissue, restricts circulation, and creates an environment that is hostile to hair growth. The follicle senses this stress and shifts into a protective mode, slowing growth and increasing shedding. Poor circulation compounds the problem. Blood is the delivery system for everything the follicle needs to survive. Oxygen, minerals, vitamins, amino acids, and hormones all travel through the bloodstream. When circulation is compromised, the follicle becomes undernourished. Over time, the hair shaft becomes thinner, growth slows, and eventually the follicle becomes inactive. Walnuts directly address both inflammation and circulation. Their omega-3 fatty acids play a central role in calming inflammatory pathways throughout the body. Omega-3 cells help balance inflammatory responses, preventing the chronic overreaction that damages tissues. When inflammation is reduced, blood vessels relax and blood flow improves. This allows nutrients to reach the scalp more efficiently. The fats in walnuts also support the health of the blood vessels themselves. Healthy vessels are flexible and responsive. They expand when more blood is needed and contract when less is required. This flexibility is critical for delivering nutrients to areas like the scalp that rely on microcirculation. When blood vessels are stiff or inflamed, this delivery system breaks down. Walnuts help maintain vessel integrity and function. Vitamin E in walnuts further enhances circulation by protecting blood vessels from oxidative damage. Oxidative stress weakens vessel walls and reduces their ability to transport blood effectively. Vitamin E acts as a shield, preserving vessel health and improving blood flow to the scalp. Better circulation means more oxygen, which is essential for cellular energy and follicle activity. Another important effect of walnuts is their influence on scalp tension. Inflammatory processes often cause the scalp to become tight and less elastic. This tension restricts blood flow and compresses follicles. As inflammation decreases, scalp tissue becomes more relaxed and pliable. This creates space for blood flow and nutrient delivery, allowing follicles to function more freely. Walnuts also support the nervous system, which plays a role in circulation. The nervous system controls blood vessel dilation and constriction. When the nervous system is stressed, circulation suffers. The nutrients in walnuts help nourish nerve tissue and support healthy signaling. This indirectly improves blood flow to the scalp and other peripheral tissues. Chronic inflammation can also disrupt the hair growth cycle. Hair follicles naturally move through growth, rest, and shedding phases. Inflammation shortens the growth phase and prolongs the resting phase. This results in increased hair fall and reduced regrowth. By lowering inflammation, walnuts help normalize the growth cycle, allowing hair to remain in the growth phase longer. Improved circulation also means better removal of metabolic waste. Cells produce waste products that must be carried away by the bloodstream. When circulation is poor, waste accumulates around the follicle, creating a toxic environment that further impairs growth. Enhanced blood flow helps clear these waste products, restoring a healthier environment for the follicle. The anti-inflammatory effects of walnuts extend beyond the scalp. Systemic inflammation affects the entire body, including hormonal balance and immune function. By calming inflammation, system-wide walnuts create conditions that favor tissue repair and regeneration. Hair growth benefits as a result of this improved internal balance. It's important to understand that these changes take time. Inflammation does not disappear overnight, and circulation improves gradually. Consistent consumption of walnuts supports steady improvement rather than sudden changes. Over weeks and months, the cumulative effect becomes noticeable as shedding decreases and hair texture improves. People often notice that as circulation improves, their scalp feels warmer, more relaxed, and less itchy. These are signs that blood flow is increasing and inflammation is decreasing. Hair follicles respond to these changes by becoming more active and productive. This process is natural and gentle. There is no forcing the body, no overstimulation, and no artificial intervention. Walnuts simply provide the nutrients the body needs to restore balance. When balance is restored, circulation improves, inflammation decreases, and hair follicles are given the conditions they need to thrive. Hair loss driven by inflammation and poor circulation is not permanent. In many cases, when the underlying causes are addressed, the body often responds positively. Walnuts help remove two of the biggest barriers to healthy hair growth. By calming inflammation and improving blood flow, they allow the follicle to do what it was designed to do, grow strong, healthy hair. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to improve their hair is believing that more is better. They think that if a little is good, a lot must be better. So they overload the body with supplements, superfoods, and complex routines. But the body does not respond well to excess. It responds to consistency. Small, steady inputs over time create the greatest change. And this is especially true when it comes to hair growth. Hair grows slowly. On average, hair grows about ½ an inch per month. That means any meaningful change in thickness, strength, or density requires patience. The follicle does not suddenly switch on because of a single meal or a short-term effort. It responds to repeated signals that the internal environment has improved. Consistency sends that signal, inconsistency does not. Consuming a small amount of walnuts daily provides a reliable stream of nutrients that the body can use efficiently. 4 to 6 raw walnuts per day is enough to support hair health without overwhelming the digestive system or creating imbalance. This moderate intake allows the body to absorb and utilize nutrients steadily rather than dealing with spikes in excess that must be processed or eliminated. When nutrients are supplied consistently, the body begins to rebuild its reserves. Minerals like zinc and copper are stored in small amounts and used as needed. Healthy fats are incorporated into cell membranes over time. Antioxidants reduce oxidative stress gradually. These processes do not happen overnight. They happen through repetition. Each day of consistent intake builds upon the previous day. Consistency also helps regulate inflammation. Chronic inflammation develops slowly and it resolves slowly. A single anti-inflammatory meal cannot reverse months or years of inflammatory stress. However, daily consumption of anti-inflammatory foods like walnuts gently shifts the body toward balance. Over time, inflammatory markers decrease, circulation improves, and tissues begin to heal. Hair follicles benefit from this long-term change. Another reason consistency matters is hormonal stability. Hormones are sensitive to sudden changes in diet and lifestyle. Extreme fluctuations can disrupt balance and create stress responses. A steady, moderate intake of nutrient-rich foods supports hormonal harmony rather than shock. This stable internal environment is more favorable for hair growth. Consistency also trains the body. When the body receives nutrients regularly, it adapts by improving absorption and utilization. Digestive enzymes adjust, gut bacteria respond, and metabolic pathways become more efficient. This means that over time, the same small amount of walnuts becomes more effective at delivering benefits to the hair follicle. Skipping days or consuming walnuts sporadically sends mixed signals. The body cannot adapt to inconsistency. It cannot build reserves or maintain balance when inputs are unpredictable. Hair follicles in particular require a stable environment. When conditions fluctuate, follicles remain cautious, staying in a resting phase rather than committing to growth. It's also important to understand that hair shedding is part of the process. As the internal environment improves, weaker hairs may shed to make way for stronger ones. This can be alarming if you are not prepared for it. Consistency helps move the follicle through this transition smoothly. Stopping too early out of fear interrupts the process and prevents long-term improvement. Small daily habits are easier to maintain than drastic changes. 4 to 6 walnuts per day is simple, affordable, and sustainable. Sustainability matters because hair health is not a short-term project. It is an ongoing reflection of how well the body is supported. Habits that are easy to maintain are more likely to produce lasting results. Consistency also reduces stress. Complex routines and strict rules create pressure and anxiety, which negatively affect hair growth. Simple, repeatable habits create calm and confidence. This psychological aspect should not be underestimated. When stress decreases, cortisol levels drop, circulation improves, and hair follicles function better. Another benefit of consistent intake is cumulative protection. Antioxidants and healthy fats protect follicles from ongoing damage caused by environmental stressors, aging, and oxidative processes. Each day of protection adds up. Over time, this slows thinning and preserves existing hair, which is just as important as encouraging new growth. People who stay consistent often notice changes beyond hair. Nails become stronger, skin becomes smoother, energy levels improve. These changes are signs that the body is responding positively to steady nutritional support. Hair improvement is part of a larger pattern of recovery and balance. It's important to be patient with the timeline. Most people begin to notice reduced shedding within a few weeks, followed by improvements in texture and strength over several months. Thickness and density take longer. This does not mean it isn't working. It means the body is doing what it needs to do in the correct order. Consistency does not mean perfection. Missing a day occasionally will not undo progress. What matters is the overall pattern. Returning to the habit and maintaining it over time is what creates results. Hair follicles respond to long-term signals, not short-term perfection. In the end, small daily actions create big results because they respect the body's natural rhythms. 4 to 6 walnuts per day, eaten consistently, provide ongoing support without stress or excess. When the body feels safe, nourished, and balanced, hair follicles respond accordingly. This is how real lasting improvement happens.